You found yourself on another edition of Let 'Em Know Kings United. And on today's episode, at least 2 out of our 3 teams know how to win. As the Cleveland Cavaliers take care of business against Portland, Sacramento lights up 125 points on the LA Lakers, and the Orlando Magic outplay the Bulls. I don't care that the Bulls made a miraculous attempt of a comeback and only lost the game by 2 points. The Bulls were flat as tires, and the Magic dominated all night long. We're going to break all that down on today's edition of Let 'Em Know Kings United. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time for the post-game reaction podcast of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Sacramento Kings, and the Chicago Bulls. This is Let 'Em Know Kings United. Let 'em know, nation. You know what time it is. I apologize for making y'all wait this long. But welcome to Let 'Em Know Kings United. This is your Cleveland Cavaliers, Sacramento Kings, and Chicago Bulls post-game reaction podcast. And I am your host, Scarlett Weisberg. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's show. We got a loaded program coming up for you today. But before I get into it, I would like to remind you all that you can find Let 'Em Know Kings United on Amazon Music, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Radio Public, Pandora, and wherever else you want to listen to the show. It is 100% completely free and available. Give the show a follow on those platforms if you can, please. Turn on your notifications so you know about the next episode. Please rate, spread the word out to your friends, and give Let 'Em Know Kings United a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. It is a great way to support the podcast, and I appreciate every single one of you. Well, for 2 out of our 3 teams, 2 of them got big wins, and one of them, I don't even know what to say about them. One of them fell flat as tires, and I'm not even going to talk about the negative. I'm going to save the negative for the final segment because there were 2 positives and 1 negative, and last time I checked, the positives override the negatives. So I'm going to talk about the 2 positive winners in these first 2 segments, and then in the last segment, I am going to go off because I'm going to blow off some steam on the Chicago Bulls. But I want to talk about the first positive of the night, and that is the Sacramento Kings own the Los Angeles Lakers. We own them. We own them. We own them like the Lakers. The Lakers bought a ranch in Sacramento, and the Sacramento Kings said, pay our rent. Pay our rent, bitch. Pay our rent. And that is exactly what they said, what the Sacramento Kings said to the LA Lakers, which beat the LA Lakers by a final score of 125-110. Despite the fact that LeBron James had his 108th career triple-double, outstanding for him. I mean, you couldn't do nothing about it. He's the GOAT. He's the greatest player of all time. You can't fault the Sacramento Kings on defense. I mean, LeBron is just being LeBron, right? LeBron is going to get his buckets any time of the week. But Kevin Huerter and De'Aaron Fox, let me tell you something, dude. These 2 guys, they're getting their swagger back. Mostly Kevin Huerter. If these 2 keep it up, it is going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem for the rest of the NBA, I tell you. De'Aaron Fox and Kevin Huerter scored 28 points combined apiece for the Sacramento Kings, who snapped the Lakers' 3-game winning streak. Their first loss at Crypto.com Arena, which should have been the Staples Center all along. I mean, Crypto.com Arena, was this a Bitcoin arena? Some sort of fashion? Come on, Los Angeles, you better than that. You better than that. But they snapped a 3-game winning streak with their 5th win in 6 meetings with their downstate rivals. Simply put, the Kings own the Lakers. Kevin Huerter said the Kings got off to a great start. And they did get off to an amazing start, outscoring LA 38-25. I mean, you could have argued that Sacramento could have dropped 40 points on the LA Lakers and then they would call it a night. We established ourselves offensively, got out in transition, played fast. It was like the Sacramento Kings of old, right? Once De'Aaron Fox and Kevin Huerter got their stride going, they got their vibe going. The offense for the Sacramento Kings was, for the most part, clicking on all cylinders. I mean, you couldn't stop the Kings offense if you had a plumber job and the Sacramento Kings offense just clogged the toilets of the LA Lakers. I had to put up a little laugh there because I found it really funny. But Kevin Huerter also said this: I don't think we maintained it the rest of the game. And I agree with that statement because I think late in the fourth quarter, the LA Lakers got their momentum. All credit to LeBron James for his 108th triple-double. But you know what? The one negative that I have to say, the win overall for Sacramento was a positive. Overall, I thought that they took care of business. But the one negative that I have is Sacramento still hasn't learned to not let teams get on a run. They haven't been closing games defensively so far early in the season. They showed some spurts of it, but they haven't showed any consistency on that level. But it's early right now, so I'm not gonna overreact. But Kevin Huerter also says it shows that we're capable of when we are playing in that level. James had 28 points, 11 assists, and 10 rebounds in his first triple-double of his 21st NBA season, breaking his tie with Jason Kidd, the current head coach of the Dallas Mavericks, for the fifth most in NBA history. He also led the Lakers rally in the fourth quarter when they sliced Sacramento's 26-point lead to 9 before running out of steam. Mike Brown said LeBron James' effort was amazing. I don't know if you can put a timetable on when he's going to be done. And he coached LeBron for 5 seasons when he was with the Cleveland Cavaliers, Mike Brown. I think there's one person that can, and that's him. Well, maybe two, because his wife might be able to do something about that. He's absolutely amazing to do what he does at his age. It's phenomenal. I'm amazed every time we go against him. And the Kings, as I said earlier, won 3 straight over the Lakers in Los Angeles, and the 3 top scorers stacked them to a 106-80 lead in the fourth quarter. The Lakers surprisingly kept their starters in the game and made a 30-13 run, but couldn't close the yawning gap. Darvin Ham, I should say, said, and I quote, "Whenever we get stops and we take care of the ball, we're usually fine. I know the amount of scoring that we have on our team, particularly those 5 guys that finish for us. You got to give them a chance to see what we can do. Maybe some turnovers, missed shots on their part. You can dig into the lead and make it a game, and I thought we did that." To their credit, I think the Lakers did make it a game. Ultimately, the Sacramento Kings were able to hold on in the fourth quarter, but the LA Lakers, I got to give them credit. They are a veteran team. They're an experienced team. I still think they might be contenders in the West. And the last time the Kings and the Lakers met, they had to go to overtime and go to one center. On Wednesday night, that wasn't the case. But I do know one thing that I need to call out. Anthony Davis, you only scored 4 points in the first game's 4 minutes, but didn't score again in the fourth quarter. I think you're only held to 9 points. You want to know why you were held to 9 points, Anthony Davis? Huh? Mr. Former NBA champion? Mr. Former multiple-time All-Star, huh? Mr. I can't stay healthy because I'm always injured all the time? It's because Domantas Sabonis is your daddy. 29 points and 16 rebounds. You allowed a double-double to the best defensive player in the NBA today, Domantas Sabonis. I don't give a darn what anybody thinks. Put some respect on Domantas Sabonis, or I'm not talking to any of y'all anymore. Domantas Sabonis is an elite defensive player. And by the way, Anthony Davis, if you need a permission slip sign, just hand it over to Domantas Sabonis, and he'll sign it to you. You are a child in Domantas Sabonis' paint. Understand who owns you. The Sacramento Kings own the Lakers, and in any event, Domantas Sabonis owns Anthony Davis. That is not a lie. It is not fiction. It is just straight up, cold, hard facts. Anthony Davis, you are nowhere near good as Domantas Sabonis. That's simple. You're good, but you are not the good. You are not in the level of Domantas Sabonis right now. The Sacramento Kings are just straight up rolling. They are straight up rolling. They have won 4 straight games, but they got a big, and I mean this literally, a big test with the San Antonio Spurs. They should be able to beat the Spurs, and it's an in-season tournament game. So all 3 of our teams tonight play in in-season tournament games. Sacramento has got San Antonio. Cleveland got Detroit, while Chicago runs it back with the Orlando Magic. But I will say this about Sacramento. I think we should win. We should beat the San Antonio Spurs. But the reason why this is big is because of Victor Wembanyama. The 7'4", number 1 overall pick that is really, really impressive so far. And Domantas Sabonis, if you're guarding him and if you get outsized by him, I don't blame him. I don't blame Domantas Sabonis for getting outsized by Victor Wembanyama. Everybody and every center in the league is going to get outsized by Victor Wembanyama. Maybe Nikola Jokic might be the only person that can match him as far as size goes. But you know what? I'm really looking forward to see what Sacramento does against Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs tonight. But back to the stats of this game. Both teams shot pretty even percentages. They were both 50% for the field, 51% for the LA Lakers, but the shooting percentage was pretty darn even. The three-point percentage, 16 threes for Sacramento, 36.5% shooting compared to 11 for the LA Lakers, with 37% from the free throw shooting. The free throw percentage, the Lakers, 79% compared to 76.5% for the Sacramento Kings. The rebounds, Sacramento had the slight edge, 45-43, including 11 offensive boards. The Kings did a really great job of sharing the ball with 31 assists, 20 steals for the Sacramento Kings. Outstanding on that end. But the block, 6-1 in favor of the Los Angeles Lakers. I think the Kings did a really great job of taking care of the ball for the most part. They only had 16 turnovers, while the Lakers got 23. We definitely won the points in the paint battle, 30-27. The fast break points, 21-12 in favor of Sacramento, while the points in the paint were 54-50 in favor of the Sacramento Kings. As far as who stood out as far as the box score perspective for the LA Lakers, you can't say enough about LeBron James. This man is a living legend for a freaking reason. 28 points, 10 rebounds, 12 assists, a triple-double for him. He also had 4 steals and a block, shooting 9 for 15 for the field. D'Angelo Russell, he's been going crazy. 28 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 for 6 from three-point range and a block. He's been looking really impressive. And Cam Reddish, he's looking pretty nice. 16 points, 5 steals with 2 rebounds. And as far as the Sacramento Kings, De'Aaron Fox and Kevin Huerter both had 28 points in this game. De'Aaron Fox finished with 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 steals, while Kevin Huerter had 4 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals. Domantas Sabonis, a.k.a. the daddy of Anthony Davis. So let's keep moving on. 29 points, 16 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals, and a block. Keegan Murray finished with 9 points. He left the game injured, but he came right back. He also had 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. HB had a really good game, 13 points with 4 steals. on the night. As far as on the bench, JaVale McGee looked pretty nice with 7 points. Chris Duarte had 4 points on the bench, as well as Sasha Vezenkov with 2 steals. Overall, a good team win for Sacramento. Good start to a long road trip for the Sacramento Kings. And a win is nice for Sacramento, don't get me wrong. But a win over the LA Lakers? Man, that is twice as nice, and I will take that any day of the week and twice on Sunday. When we come back, there's going to be another W to break down, and that is the Cleveland Cavaliers ending their road trip strong with a win over Portland, and we're going to break that down when we come back on Let 'Em Know Kings United. We're back on Let 'Em Know Kings United, and for the Cleveland Cavaliers, this was a really, really tough West Coast road trip that they couldn't, for the most part, take care of business. They split the road trip, though, but the West Coast road trip for the Cleveland Cavaliers, it was pretty tough. It was pretty tough for Cleveland because they not only had to play in Portland, they had to go to the Chase Center to take on the Golden State Warriors, which they did win, and they swept the Golden State Warriors. It feels so good to say that. And then we fell flat against the Oklahoma City Thunder and against the Sacramento Kings. But against Portland, though, we were hitting our stride because Donovan Mitchell dropped 34 big points as the Cleveland Cavaliers ended their long road trip strong. They got a split of the road trip, and they got a big win by a final score of 109-94 as Donovan Mitchell dropped 34 points as they handed the Portland Trailblazers their 5th straight loss. And another big contributor to the win was Evan Mobley. He added 21 points and 12 rebounds, and the Cleveland Cavaliers finished 2-2 in their 9-day trip down at 9-day West Coast road trip. Evan Mobley said, I feel we definitely made a step forward, and we played pretty consistent throughout the game. We just got to keep carrying that into each game over and over again. Both teams, though, were struggling with injuries coming in. For the Portland Trailblazers, they were without Scoot Henderson, the 3rd overall pick in the NBA draft, would miss up to 3 more weeks after an MRI revealed a bone bruise in addition to a sprained left ankle. That's tough. And Portland is already missing guard Anthony Simmons with a torn ligament in his thumb, Malcolm Brogdon with a sore hamstring, and a season-ending knee injury for Robert Williams III. For Cleveland, they were without Ty Jerome, who has missed 9 games already with an ankle sprain, Isaac Okoro, who was bothered by a knee injury, and now they were without Darius Garland, who strained his neck in the second half of Monday's 132-120 defeat at the hands of Sacramento. As far as the injuries, JB Bickerstaff said this: it's early. I think that's one of those things where we have to live in basketball reality. We miss so much time in training camp and the beginning of the season with key players out. And then you're working in those players back and adding players. You're changing the dynamics of the things you have typically done in the past. You know it takes time to get it right. And it does take time. And it will take even more time because now that you're going to get Ty Jerome and Isaac Okoro potentially back, and I hope that Darius Garland can find a way back. But as far as the game goes, JB Bickerstaff said, not that we're being picky, but we scrapped it out at the end of a long road trip, which can be difficult. I thought we did things well in spurts, and it's over with. We get to go home to see our families, and for the most part, the Cleveland Cavaliers did a really, really, really good job. I mean, we didn't contain Jeremy Grant that well. Skylar Mays had a really good standout game, and Dupe Reith, who the heck is this guy? Scoring a career high 16 points in 20 minutes off the Cleveland Cavaliers. Good for him. He won't do that again, though. He won't do that again. Come the next time that we see him at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. No, he won't. No, he won't. But back to the injury comment Chauncey Billups said about his team injuries were not, I guess, healthy enough to survive tough shooting nights from our top guys. And then I thought on the other end, and that was something we were concerned about, was just the size. We couldn't contend for the most part. They crushed us on the glass, kind of locked down the paint, so it was tough. It was a Cleveland Cavaliers style kind of game. The Cleveland Cavaliers, what they like to do is they like to crash boards, lock down the paint, getting second chance points inside because that's the identity of the Cleveland Cavaliers over the last few years. Their identity has now increased a little bit because they upgraded their shooting. More specifically, Donovan Mitchell, who dropped 34. Max Strus, who looked pretty impressive early on. Georges Niang, that's slowly finding his rhythm. And when Ty Jerome comes back, it's going to be another dimension for the Cleveland Cavaliers offense. And you already know what Isaac Okoro can do. Well, for Cleveland, it was a good win. Good win after a long road trip. And this was Portland's first game back at home after an 0-3 road trip, capped by a 115-99 loss to the Utah Jazz on Tuesday. Both teams will be playing in the in-season tournament tonight as the Portland Trail Blazers will host the LA Lakers while the Cleveland Cavaliers will play a Detroit Piston team that looks absolutely depleted. And good thing I left covering them because Detroit is coming into this game 2-10. They've lost 9 straight games. But if you are Cleveland, you cannot overlook this team. You cannot become complacent and assume that you are going to win. I know Cleveland is going to win this game, but as a team, you cannot assume playing down to their level and thinking that they're going to win. We need to lock in and play all 4 quarters, 48 minutes, against a Detroit Piston team that has talent but is lacking consistency right now. The only player that I think the Cleveland Cavaliers need to keep an eye on, not only Cade Cunningham, he's pretty good. Alec Burks is pretty good shooting from 3, but Asar Thompson, this guy right now is looking really special. He is a stat sheet stuffer for the Detroit Pistons as of right now, and that's something that the Cleveland Cavaliers that I know will be confident, that I'm really confident that they will be prepared for in this game, and they will be wearing their City Edition jerseys for the very first time. And I get to see the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse City in-season tournament court, which I am really excited about. The stats for this game, 56% for the field for the Cleveland Cavaliers compared to 37% for the Portland Trail Blazers. 3-point percentage, slightly better for the Portland Trail Blazers. I said slightly, 13 makes compared to only 9, 34% for Portland, 30% for our Cavs. The free throw percentage, all credit to Portland. I think they were the more aggressive team than the Cleveland Cavaliers in this game. The rebounds, all Cleveland, 47-30 in that regard, including 7 offensive rebounds for Cleveland. The assists, 24-23 in favor of Portland. The assists were 9-5 Portland. Steals were 9-5 Portland. The blocks, 9-3. And Evan Mobley played a really big role in that stat, I'll tell you. The turnovers, 18-14 for Cleveland. I think they are still in that area of the game where they need to clean it up. Fast break points, 20-11. The points of the paint, 60-36. Cleveland just did an outstanding job of dominating in the paint in this game, and they needed it. They needed a get-right performance, leaving the road trip, finishing the road trip strong, and coming at home and taking care of business. And that is exactly what the Cleveland Cavaliers did. Donovan Mitchell, 34 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal. He shot 5 for 8 from three-point land. It was at one point where he couldn't miss from three-point range. He had the three-point stroke for the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight. Max Strus, 14 points, 7 assists, 3 rebounds, and a nasty poster heard around the world. I mean, my God. I knew that you came from Miami, but I didn't know that you can get that up from a dunk. Woo-wee! Max Strus, that was nice. Evan Mobley, a double-double, 21 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists for him. And Karis LeVert, another impressive performance off the bench, 17.7 or 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals and a block. Evan Mobley also had 3 blocks on the night, as well as Jared Allen, who finished with 11 points and 9 rebounds. It was a good win for Cleveland, a much-needed win for Cleveland to end the road trip strong, and now they head back to Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse tonight to take care of business against the Detroit Pistons, which I expect Cleveland to run all over the Detroit Pistons, but you cannot overlook the Pistons because Asar Thompson is an absolute stud. Well, I got through the positives, but coming up next, it's the negative. And a little warning, I'm going to go off. I'm going to rant about the worst Chicago Bulls performance I have ever seen in a long damn time right after this break. We're back on Let 'Em Know Kings United, and this isn't going to be easy for me to talk about. This isn't going to be easy for me to talk about without lashing out a couple of bombs, but I'm going to try to keep my cool when I talk about this, but I cannot because I'm watching a team that is nothing but 10 men. The Chicago Bulls have no heart whatsoever. 96-94, the Orlando Magic defeated the Chicago Bulls. Now, let me say this. The Orlando Magic were coming off a game a night before, an NBA in-season tournament game against Brooklyn, where they got their doors kicked in Brooklyn. Brooklyn dictated the pace, dictated the tempo, and Brooklyn wanted it more than the Orlando Magic that night. I want to give credit to Mosley and the Orlando Magic for getting the Orlando Magic ready to play, for getting the Magic prepared for this game, to get the Orlando Magic to understand that this is an opportunity for us to bounce back as a team. All credit to the Orlando Magic. They did that. Paolo Banchero got the game winner, a turnaround jumper with 1 second left to defeat the Chicago Bulls that night. And let me say this about the Orlando Magic. I love their direction. Okay, I love the direction where it's going. I think Mosley is an outstanding coach. He led the Orlando Magic to an incredible turnaround last year, almost as incredible as the Sacramento Kings turnaround when Mike Brown won the undisputed unanimous game of the year. Paolo Banchero, the 2023 Rookie of the Year, took the inbounds pass on the left side following a timeout and backed into the paint with Alex Caruso guarding him. Wait, what? You mean to tell me our best defensive player, Alex Caruso, who by the way has more heart than the entire Bulls team combined. The entire Bulls team combined doesn't hold a candle to Alex Caruso and the way that he plays the game. I'm going to get into that in just a second because I feel like going off. But he turned toward the middle and watched his 7-foot hit the front of the back rim and then falling into the net. That gave the Orlando Magic a wild win. And Banchero said, when Zach LaVine hit the last 3, we all just looked at the clock, saw how much time was left, and then we were able to get a good look. Coach drew it up for me to get in the post. When we were out there, I thought Patrick Williams was going to be on me, but it was Alex Caruso. So I wanted to attack the rim, and if I got the ball, I tried to back him as far as I could, and I got the turnaround off. Caruso said, without saying much, we'll look at the last 2-minute report and see what happened with the foot movement down for Paolo. But overall, I tried to make it tough on him. He made a tough shot. And you know what? Alex Caruso, you deserve credit, my guy. You deserve some credit because the way that you defended tonight was absolutely magnificent. It was absolutely magnificent the way that Alex Caruso defended. I wish the rest of the Chicago Bulls played with the same energy, same passion, and same respect for the game that Alex Caruso has. I mean, the Magic held Chicago to 33 points. 33! The lowest scoring first half in the NBA this season and led by 19 in the third quarter. And by the way, the Chicago Bulls only scored 12 points in that quarter. In the second quarter alone, after it was a 21-21 game, the Orlando Magic outscored the Chicago Bulls 29-12. And I don't give a damn about Zach LaVine hitting 2 big threes. I don't give a damn about the comeback. I don't give a damn about the Bulls trying to rally. The Bulls are flat as tires right now. You know why they're flat? They don't know the fundamentals of basketball. They don't. I mean, I heard Stacey King in his broadcast. I watched the Chicago Bulls game back today. I regret doing that, but I did it for the sake of the show. The Orlando Magic did a really good job of dive cutting to the basket and getting backside rebounds and second chance opportunities. The Chicago Bulls don't know how to communicate on defense. They don't. They don't. You cannot allow a team like the Orlando Magic, who, by the way, is the worst team in the NBA in the fourth quarter, who is not a good shooting team like the Chicago Bulls are. But they are one of the best teams in the NBA right now on the defensive side of the ball. I think coming into the Orlando Magic were, number 10 in defensive rating. I think I saw that. I think I could be wrong. But you cannot allow a team like the Orlando Magic to get dive cuts to the rim and backside rebounds. You gotta help. You gotta help. You gotta have communication on the defensive end. Patrick Williams missing assignments. Nikola Vucevic missing assignments. The only guy that's in full gear is Alex Caruso. And to that I say, thank you, Alex. Thank you, AC. Because if it wasn't for you, the Bulls, I wouldn't be covering the Chicago Bulls right now. I would have went back to Cleveland and Sacramento if I have to, but I'm not. I'm not going to go with just Cleveland, Sacramento. I am going with Cleveland, Sacramento, Chicago because Alex Caruso has given me hope. Alex Caruso has given me faith in the Chicago Bulls. The rest of y'all have given me nothing but flat tires. Now, I will say this. DeMar DeRozan, he was out for this game due to a family issue, but he, to a certain extent, is exempt from what I'm about to say. For the rest of you, you need to learn to get in full gear. And you need to learn to get in full gear right now. Because there's only one guy that plays every game, every night with full gear. And if you guess the answer is Alex Caruso, you damn right he is. Because Stacey King said it. Alex Caruso does not know half gear. He only goes full speed ahead and plays his heart out. And I get that the Bulls have a lot of news coming at them. More specifically with the trade news of Zach LaVine. But you gotta push that to the side and play a basketball game. I think the Bulls were more focused on the news, were more focused on the Zach LaVine issues than the basketball game. The bench unit, for the most part, they did well again. Caruso, Dosunmu, Torrey Craig, Vucci Main. Those were the only 4 Chicago Bulls that were consistent for the most part all night. Kobe White, you did nothing. Zach LaVine, flat. Patrick Williams, you bum. You don't even deserve to start. Billy Donovan, you don't know how to put a lineup together. You don't. Don't start Patrick Williams in the starting lineup in place of DeMar DeRozan, knowing all well that Patrick Williams struggles when he starts. If I was the head coach of the Chicago Bulls, here is the proper starting lineup that I would go with. I would keep Vucci Main, I would keep White, I would keep Zach LaVine in there, and then I would put Alex Caruso in there instead of Patrick Williams. So it would be Zach LaVine, Kobe White, Vucci Main, Alex Caruso, and Torrey Craig. If that starting lineup was in there, we would have beaten the Orlando Magic. But no, Billy Donovan, you don't listen to yourself. You think Patrick Williams was a better starter than Alex Caruso. Hell no, he isn't. He struggles in the starting lineup. How could you not get that? How can the Chicago Bulls not understand you gotta play for all 4 quarters? We're too inconsistent. We are too inconsistent in both ends. We don't lock in defensively. We collapse on defense. We miss assignments, and we get outplayed every single night. Every single night we get outplayed. I swear to God, if the Chicago Bulls lose against the Orlando Magic tonight, then I am going to absolutely blow my lid. Blow my lid. I mean, if Andre Drummond and Alex Caruso can play with the same energy that they did on Wednesday night, then we would be okay. But for the rest of you, lock in and wake up. Do you realize that the NBA in-season tournament is like the playoffs? And most of the teams that are leading in the tournament standings right now, which I'm not gonna get into in this show, they understand the significance of the moment. They understand the moment. And I don't think the Bulls understand that. I think this front office and the owner, they don't get it. They don't get it. I need a complete rebuild. A complete rebuild of the roster. I need to see Alex Caruso be the team captain because he is the heart and soul of the Bulls, because nobody else wants to step up. Nobody else wants to step up in the moment. Nobody else wants to play with heart. Nobody else that wants to play all 48 minutes. The Magic head coach Jamal Mosley gave these guys credit. I loved how our guys resolved to the end, understanding that we've been in these scenarios before and why we do the 2-minute drills. Did it go perfectly? No, but that's the will of this team is. They'll find a way. That was a big time poised play by Paolo to get in there and finish the play at the end of the game. I think Jamal Mosley needs to teach the Chicago Bulls a couple of 2-minute drills, because I really do not understand how the Magic won this game. The Magic deserved to win this game, while the Bulls didn't even deserve to be in it. Yeah, they shot 39% for the field. Both teams did, so it was pretty even. Both teams really struggled in shooting the three, and the Bulls had the best free throw percentage, 86 compared to 80, and the rebounding edge, it was in favor of the Bulls, 53 to 46. But my God, the difference in this game, 19 turnovers for the Chicago Bulls and 12 steals for the Orlando Magic. Last time I checked, the Chicago Bulls were one of the best teams in the league in getting steals. Orlando just beat y'all at your own game. Not only at your own game, they beat you at the United Center, playing like the more desperate team, the more well-coached team, and the more balanced team. I hate to break it to you, Chicago, but you are not going to go anywhere with efforts like this. You're not. you might as well pack it in. You might as well pack it up. Because you know what? With the exception of Torrey Craig, Ayo Dosunmu, Andre Drummond, and Alex Caruso, and DeMar DeRozan because he was hurt. The rest of y'all, and Vooch. Vooch is exempt too because he's been the only consistent bowl starter. The rest of y'all, you need to figure it out. You need to dig in defensively, you need to lock in, and you need to beat the Orlando Magic. Because god damn it, you got a Miami Heat team coming in tomorrow who is red freaking hot. Red freaking hot. So, is this a must-win game tonight for the Chicago Bulls? You damn right it is. You damn right it is. Because if I find out that if the Chicago Bulls lose against the Orlando Magic, get swept by the Orlando Magic, I know they play like 2 more games, but you get swept at home to an Orlando Magic team that is not as good as you offensively, but they're really good on defense. If you get swept at home by the Orlando Magic, I don't know what to say anymore. Paolo Banchero was the player of the game and not even close. 17 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. Bataze did a really great job crashing the boards, 15 points, 11 rebounds for him. Cole Anthony off the bench finished with 16 points. Anthony Black finished with 7 points. Now, I will say this about Anthony Black. He had an opportunity to ice the game for the Orlando Magic in making the free throws, making 2 shots in the line. He missed both, and he was crying on the bench. And I know what you're thinking. Don't say anything about that. Don't even mention how Anthony Black was crying on the bench, feeling down about himself after missing 2 free throws. You know what I say to that? That's a guy who cares about the game. That's a guy who cares about his team. That's a guy who's passionate for the game, who cares about getting better, who cares about playing the game that he loves, and he cares about winning. I wish the rest of the Chicago Bulls can match the same emotion that Anthony Black has. Alex Caruso sure can. Nikola Vucevic sure can. Torrey Craig is the only professional on this team who understands how to win. But the rest of them, they're lost. They are straight up lost. Zach LaVine, I'm not even going to mention how the fact that you dropped 19 points, including 4 for 7 from three-point land, you are still flat. You are still flat. You don't get it. Nikola Vucevic, 17 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. Torrey Craig, 11 points, 7 rebounds, and a steal. He did a really great job of being aggressive. I love seeing that from him. And the MVP, Alex Caruso, or I should say, Captain Alex Caruso, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 for 4 from three-point range, 5 for 7 from the field in 24 minutes. He should have honestly started over Patrick Williams, who finished with 9 points. But again, Billy Donovan just doesn't know how to put a lineup in. So, for Chicago, this is a must-win. And God help you if you lose to the Orlando Magic tonight. Because if you do, the next draft that I'm going to do is not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty. So wake your asses up and get it together. That's going to do it for today's edition of Let 'Em Know Kings United. You can find this show on Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Dial Radio, Radio Public, Pandora, Spotify, and wherever else you want to listen to this show. Give the show a follow on those platforms. Turn on your notifications so you know about the next episode. Please rate, spread the word out to your friends. Give Let 'Em Know Kings United a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this on. Thank you for tuning in. I am your host, Scarlett Weisberg, and I will see you right back here for another episode of Let 'Em Know Kings United.